Hey, what is up guys? It's Limited Llama back for another Sorare MLB video. Today I'm going to give a quick update on how my teams are doing for game week 8, which is August 15th through 19th. And then I'm going to talk through some of the pros and cons of whether or not Sorare is actually worth it to get into and maybe spend some money to get some cards. So let's go ahead and let's start off by walking through how my teams are doing. So far I'm placing pretty well in both the Limited All-Star and the Limited Pro competitions. But to be honest, I don't expect this to last. So in the Limited All-Star competition, I'm so high because I had a pitcher that started. And in the Limited Pro competition, I'm also so high because I had a pitcher that started. So Johnny Cueto honestly did really well. He got me 30 points, so that's pretty solid. And then William Contreras also did pretty well. So I guess it's possible that I could place in Limited Pro if Wong, Slater, and Velasquez start showing up, but I don't think that's likely because in Limited Pro you have to be in the top 250 to actually get a reward. In Limited All-Star, I also don't see myself placing, even though Josiah Gray did really well. He got 29 points. I don't think Jose Ramirez and Ahmed Rosario did well enough yesterday in the doubleheader for me to place. Based on what I've seen, you need about 160 points on average to place on a 4-day week. So since this is a 4-day week, right, August 15th through the 19th, if I get about 160 points, that's normally the cutoff for the 600th spot. So at my current pace, I would get to 160, right? 4 times 62, 6, 12, 18 would be like 240 points. But that's a lot. That's very biased because I had a starting pitcher and I had a couple players with a doubleheader. So I don't perceive myself winning in either of these unless like Jack Peterson or Mike Guardians show up. Jose Abreu did have a decent day, scoring 9 points, but overall I don't really see myself winning unless I have some players who hit some home runs or something like that. The Common All-Star, again, neither of my pitchers started yesterday, so they're going to start either today or tomorrow, so I'll get some points there. All of my position players didn't do that well. Voit got me some points, but Chapman, Adele lost me points, and then Diaz didn't pitch. So we'll see. Obviously, you always get a reward in Common All-Stars, so there's a chance I might get somebody good, but I don't see myself winning in Limited All-Star or Limited Pro unless something really remarkable happens. But be on the lookout for a video tomorrow and then Thursday as well, as I'll recap how my teams are doing. So now let's hop over to some of the pros and cons of Sorare MLB. I'll talk through the pros first, and this is just kind of the pros for both buying cards and for playing for fun. So one of the big pros I see in Sorare MLB is the growth potential. You have essentially 2 ways to grow in Sorare MLB. You can get new cards by winning competitions, and then you can also have your current cards appreciate value. And I think both of these ways are pretty plausible. For example, if you compare the MLB card values right now to the football card values, they're way different. So over on the football cards, almost all of the cards are going for like multiple hundreds of dollars. If we go over to the manager sales, let's look at the lowest price card here. So they have a lot of cheaper cards, but a lot of the decent cards are going for really high prices over on the football. And that's because the football has been active for many more years than the MLB. So if you perceive that the MLB community is going to grow to the size of the football, then a lot of your better players are going to become worth a lot more. Like look at some of the highest priced players here. Obviously I think somebody just randomly listed it for $1 billion. So I don't think that's super realistic. But if we go over to like new card auctions, right, and look at the highest price. So this is somebody that actually bid for this. Somebody bid $7,000 for this bundle, $3,000 for this forward. So you can see the prices on cards over on the football side of Sorare are pretty high. So it's possible that if MLB Sorare gets more and more popular, these cards will also appreciate value. So by buying cards now, by getting in early, you could have the cards appreciate value as more people get in, and so the demand for the cards would be higher. It's also possible that as you play, you get new cards. However, it's really challenging to get a lot of cards that are valuable. If you watched my last video, you saw I got a limited All-Star, card. I got a tier 3 card, and I went and looked at the value of that card, and it was $2. So I think it's pretty challenging to actually make money by getting new cards through playing competitions. I think if I were going to recommend somebody who is investing in the game, I would recommend putting in a decent amount of money, because you can see in the live tournaments, right, if we go over to all tournaments, some of these have a much higher win percentage. So for example, Super Rare All-Star, 102 people are competing. You get the top 15 get a Super Rare All-Star. So that's about 15% of players will receive a reward. And these rewards are going to be worth a lot more than the limited rewards because they're more rare. So it's possible that if you come in and spend a couple $100 or $1,000, you can buy a bunch of rare All-Stars and then compete in this competition or compete in the super rare competition. And then you can have a higher profit margin potentially by doing that. I would say what I did, I came in and I spent about $60 on the game, got pretty decent limited All-Star or limited players, and I've won one competition so far, but the reward just isn't that high. So in the limited All-Star competition, you have to be in the top 10 to get a tier 1 player, and in the top 100 to get a tier 2 player. And essentially everybody except tier 1 and 2 are probably only going to be worth a couple bucks. So I would say it's possible to earn money, but I think the best way to do that is going to be to deposit more than I did and get some super rare all-stars or super or rare players and then play in these competitions. Another pro of getting in on Sorare is that I just find it to be a lot of fun. It really does help you to stay invested in baseball. I've been checking a lot of scores for games that I normally wouldn't be checking. For example, I'm checking the Diamondbacks score when Zach Gallen is pitching, or the National score when Gray is pitching. So it helps you to keep up to date with baseball, know what's going on, know who are good players, and it helps me to get excited about the game. For example, when I watch the Guardians, I'm always rooting for Rosario and Ramirez to get big hits so that I can get more points and potentially win new cards. So I think it's a lot of fun to stay invested in the game. So I enjoy it for that reason. And I think that's one of the big reasons I would get into Sorare. I don't necessarily think getting in as like an investment opportunity would be a best idea, but I think if you enjoy baseball and you want to have some fun with it, treat it like another video game. Put in $60 just like you would buy a video game for $60, get some good players, and then be excited as they do well and you can win new cards. And the fun thing about that is that you actually get to kind of get exposure to more and more teams because you're getting new cards from players that you probably haven't heard of. For example, Colton Wong of the Brewers. I didn't know about him until I got this card, but now, I'll be tracking Brewers games, hoping that he does well. So I would really recommend getting into Sorare if you just enjoy baseball and want to have some fun watching it. Now, let's get into some of the cons of investing in Sorare. The growth, as I said, can take a long time. And this is just because baseball is a very random sport. Some really good players can go on cold streaks for weeks on end and not score many points. And some bad players can score lots of points because they randomly hit a home run. So investing in baseball, especially short-term competitions like Sorare, right? This is only a 4-day time span. A lot of variance is going to happen, which is both a good thing and a bad thing. It means that you can potentially win with a team that isn't actually that good, but it also means that even if you have a really good team, you aren't always going to win. So even if you buy, Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, you get some stacked lineup, it's not guaranteed that you're going to win every single week. So it'll take a long time to actually make that worth your time. It's also true that in general, like the Sorare cards without the Sorare game are worthless. So if the company Sorare shut down today, technically I still own these cards on the Ethereum blockchain, right? That's what an NFT means. It means that I own this regardless of whether or not Sorare exists. But I can't do anything with the card. Nobody's going to go out and buy, Munoz from me, Andres Munoz, because they just aren't worth anything outside of the Sorare marketplace and outside of the Sorare game. So if you're looking for something that has long-term value, right, SoRare cards aren't really going to get you that, because there's a chance that SoRare just folds tomorrow and then you're out all of your money because nobody wants to buy a random NFT of Zach Gallen when it's not going to do them any good. So as you think about investing, you want to think about whether or not SoRare is a company that you trust to be in business for a long time. And from what I've seen from how they run their football, right, they've got a partnership with MLB. I see them being in business for a long time, and this game growing. But that is a risk that you have to take into account as you think about whether or not you want to invest in SoRare. And then the final is that you have a potential to lose money in the same way that the MLB cards could go up a bunch if a bunch of people decide they want to play. It's also true that if MLB abandons this partnership, those cards would be completely worthless if nobody wants to play. So you have to weigh both sides of the coin there and see, do you really think a lot of additional people are going to join SoRare MLB, or do you think it's going to be dead in a year and these cards are going to have no demand? Because if you go and you spend $1,000 on some rare cards or some super rare cards, and then in a year nobody wants to buy them, then you're just out of luck. You have a bunch of cards that aren't worth anything. So those are some of the risks that you have to take into account when thinking about investing in SoRare. I think in conclusion, I would not recommend investing in SoRare if you're just thinking about it from a strictly economical point of view. I think there's a lot of risks, and it's not necessarily guaranteed that SoRare MLB is going to grow to the same heights that SoRare football has. But I think if you enjoy MLB, if you want to get into it more, it's similar to fantasy baseball, where you're going to be wanting to watch games, you're going to be wanting to be invested in the game. So buying SoRare cards, if you're already into the game, is a lot of fun, and I would definitely recommend it. And it's really made me enjoy more of the game of baseball. And I think it'll help you enjoy it as well. So if you're into it for the MLB, for watching baseball, then I would definitely recommend getting into SoRare. Spend some money, get some fun cards, and watch your players compete. But if you're just trying to make some money, I don't think SoRare is necessarily the place to be. So I guess that's all. Those are both my pros and cons. Leave any comments if you think of any others or if you disagree with my point of view. But as always, I'll be back tomorrow talking about how my teams did today. And then on Thursday will be the wrap up of the tournament. So we'll see how they do, and hopefully I can get some more rewards and make another video about that. So as always, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys later.